Great, man. How are you doing?
Wonderful. Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, no worries, man. No worries. Pleasure, man. Thank you for having me.
Where are you located out of?
Los Angeles, California.
Oh, LA. Right on, right on.
Los Angeles.
So,
Not today, but
do you prefer Gregory or Greg?
Gregory.
Okay, perfect. So, Gregory, let's just jump into it. How in the hell did you even come about doing The Real World?
So used to always watch the show. I thought it was fascinating, to watch. Loved the concept, and I always thought that I would be fun on that type of premise. And then I saw a contest, for again, like they were gonna pick one person to be in the house, and you had to basically just get votes. And I didn't honestly think there was a chance that I would actually be selected, but I was like, fuck it, let's try it. So I signed up and I started making videos, and they clicked. People liked it, and I got selected. So that's how it started.
So how did that go? Was that like on MySpace, or did you have to do it on MTV or
They had
VH1?
a website. They had a website called, I forgot the title of the website, but it was like an MTV website where all the profiles were on there, people who were like, vying for the house. And you should essentially upload videos daily, just different type of videos, personality videos, funny videos, a bio, and then people just had to vote for you. And based on whoever got the many, votes, that's how you were selected. So that's the process. That's how it was.
How long was it from like when you applied to do it that way until you were actually cast for the show?
About 2 months. I think the total process was 2 months, and it was a very long process. So they had I think 6 different cuts. So, like they cut from I think it was 80,000 applicants to about 100, then from 100 to 50, then 50 to 20, then 20 to 10, and then 10, they picked one from the 10. So it was a long, arduous process, man. It was a lot.
And was your paperwork just like everybody else said, like that thick, right? Like just huge. They wanted to know everything. Grandma.
I didn't have all that, man. I got to skip all that interview process. Yeah, I didn't have to do none of that. So once I got selected, that was it. There was none of the other paperwork stuff.
Did you do a psych eval?
No.
No. That's crazy because I feel like everybody else did.
I don't know. I didn't have to do none of that typical process. Maybe that's why my roommates hated me, because they realized my process was different.
So you get cast. They fly. It was in Hollywood. So were you already living in LA at the time?
No, I was in Florida, University of Florida. I was a student at the University of Florida.
And so you decided you wanted to fly out. You're like, all right, let's do this. Let's see what's going on here.
Pretty much.
See what
man.
It's about.
They basically flew me out I think a day before the show started. There was no heads up. There was no warning. There was no, information to what to look forward to, or what is it going to be like. They just flew you out, drove you to the house, dropped you off, and you just walk in, and they start filming. And it's very awkward. It's crazy awkward, man.
So how was that? So you knew you were cast, and you're probably anticipating it. You probably knew you were going to have some animosity from the other cast members, probably because you were voted in, right? So you're probably okay, these people aren't going to like me as much because I was voted in or whatever. What was your headspace going into it the first day?
I think what's frustrating about the whole experience is that because you didn't really get an opportunity to get, a heads up, a warning, you're just basically going in blind, So again, there are people filming immediately as soon as you start. So I was kind of shocked because again, I'm thinking, there's going to be some sort of conversation. I'm going to meet somebody, with management, or meet somebody, an executive or something like that, who's going to tell me what to expect, what to look forward to. So being that none of that happened, I was just okay. And there's literally a guy standing there with a camera in your face the second that you step out of the car. And then the housemates that were already there, because everyone was already there, come up and they're like, hey, what's up, man? It's the chosen one, and that kind of thing. And I was just trying to take it all in because it's a lot. It was a lot of bright lights. And they kind of didn't understand that I was shocked. So they kind of like thought that I was being, I guess, arrogant, or like I think I'm better than they were immediately. And it was just more a concept of, being shocked at like the fact that there are lights already on you and you're
Yeah,
basically
like,
just thrust in right away.
well, yeah, because we interviewed Brianna from your season, and she said like it was on a movie set, I guess,
Right.
like a
Right.
studio set, a lot or something like that. So it was literally what she said was like set up like a whole studio, lights everywhere, camera guys everywhere. Was there, because I know a lot of places they have separate housing for the cameramen and people like that. Was that the case there too? Was there like another wing where the like production and all of those people stayed,
Yeah.
or
So
did they all
it's
go
like
home?
I don't know if they were. I don't believe they were living on site. The space wasn't that big, but there was like a back room where the executives would be at, as well as like all of the monitors. So there was like a separate space for camera equipment, but I don't believe that they were staying on site. I believe they were staying somewhere nearby.
So what was your first thought, like seeing the roommates? Were you intimidated? Were you like, oh fuck?
If I'm being honest, because I love to be honest, I was like, these women are not attractive. I mean, that's all I can think about. I'm just like, these girls are not hot. And I'm not saying I'm hot, all right? I just thought that these women were not stereotypically the type of women that Real World had casted in the past. Real World usually always has, stereotypical, type of alluring females, like
Mm-hmm.
just, curvy, curvaceous,
Vice.
glamorous looking. Yeah. And this season, as you probably are well aware, I believe was the first one in history that had like no stereotypical like modelish looking girls. And ironically, as soon as they put on a new girl, once I think I got kicked off, it was Brittany, who is a stereotypical model looking girl. So it's like,
And those girls came in when you left, though, right?
yeah.
Like
As
there
soon
was
as I
two
left,
people that came in after you left.
yeah,
Which
exactly.
I'm not gonna lie to you, I kind of stopped. I just rewatched it because I was interviewing Brianna, but I kind of stopped watching it after you left.
Um,
I'll be really honest.
I
was
felt like
okay.
the issues kind of like didn't manifest much, and then I think Joey left like right after I did. Rest in peace. And then I think that's when I stopped watching. I didn't really find the other stuff riveting. Like the storylines weren't really that interesting.
So we'll just run through like a couple of the questions, and then we can kind of touch base on like what you've done afterwards and stuff. But you went in because you wanted to become a model, right?
Yeah, I was
Did
definitely
that? How did that?
do like high fashion stuff. Yeah, high
Yeah.
fashion
How did
modeling
that?
stuff.
Did that
Well,
help you out at all with
well,
your
to be honest with you,
career?
man, like I was completely unaware of just the process. I was unaware of like the demographic, the expectations that would be expected of somebody doing like high fashion modeling. So I just wasn't prepared properly.
Yeah.
Like just the weight loss, like typically those gentlemen are like 6'2",
Like
180
165
pounds.
pounds. Yeah.
So like
Some of the best
180.
advice I was ever given, man, because I used to model a lot when I was younger, and I had a hard time getting bookings and getting an agent. And one of the best photographers I've ever met in my life said, don't stress about it too much, because male models are usually booked and busy more in their 30s versus in their 20s, because
Right.
we're more like masculine, toned, unless you want like that heroin chic look, you know what I mean?
Got you. Got you.
Yeah.
So I didn't get none of the intel. I didn't get none of those, tidbits. So I was just unprepared, man. I didn't realize what to expect. So honestly, the type of modeling that I would have been doing if I actually was successful would have been more fitness stuff. And so I did get to like walk in a couple shows, which they show on the season, but it wasn't like legitimately, like trying to actually like be booked by an agency. So it wasn't successful from that concept.
Did you book anything after the show?
From a modeling standpoint, no. But from a film standpoint, yes. I did some short films. I did some episodics. But it was always erratic. And again, I just really didn't properly position myself to be successful, man. Like I didn't get headshots properly.
Well, how young were you when you were on that show, man? Like
20 years
you
old.
must have been You
Yeah, I
20?
was 20. Yeah, and I was still trying
How
to
are
finish.
you in all those fucking clubs going out then? MTV, we gotta talk. Just kidding.
So, um, I definitely booked some films and stuff, but like I said, it was just I was 20, 21, and I didn't know again like the proper procedure to again market myself. So
Well, I think MTV probably could have put a better whole, like they could have given better support to the cast there. Do you know what I mean? Like everybody on that season, I felt, because I didn't really watch a lot of seasons, but that season it seemed like everybody was going out there for a job to try and like do something, where a lot of the other seasons was just like, let's live in a house and fuck around.
I mean
That
they
season,
they kind of put people in position to do some things, but it was only because like most of the housemates weren't really manifesting it for themselves, except William. William was manifesting his own, opportunities. So they didn't really need to step in for him. But like most of the other castmates were mostly just, not doing much. So I think Real World did step in and like give them some opportunities that were abnormal. I think like, Kim did like a news television.
yeah, she wanted to be like an News
Yeah.
host.
And David got something as well. So there were some people who did some stuff.
Okay, so before I do, like, I like to go over the cast, but beforehand, we do want to touch base. So there was a big controversy with you when you went into the house, because apparently you had said that you don't consider females friends. You only consider them associates.
Right.
What did you mean by that then, and has your stance on it changed at all now?
So I completely feel like they don't understand what I was trying to say, but that's fine. To me, it's not that difficult of a concept. I mostly just felt like before you get a chance to be friends with someone, it should be a process that you actually, again, develop with substance. And so I just said initially, I would consider people like that an associate. Like I don't know them well. To me, a friend is somebody that is somebody I would trust with my life, with my children perhaps, or, basically like something more valuable. So I just didn't consider, an initial meeting as a friendship. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, we don't know each other. We're acquaintances, associates.
That's fair.
And to this day, I feel exactly the same. And if I'm being honest, I probably feel stronger because I do not think that men and women can be platonic friends. If that man, has any type of attraction to you, because again, there's a test where, you ask the woman to text that guy like, hey, I'm vulnerable, I just broke up, or I'm drunk, like, can I come over? He's gonna say yes 99.993 times. You know what I mean? So it's like, are you really friends if you would take that opportunity? Probably not. So I don't believe in male and female platonic friendships, but I'm sure there are people who disagree, and that's fine. But I don't.
See, I agree with you too. Not maybe in the way they edited it. I think maybe kind of was a shitty edit for you, but like I agree with the same. Like I'm a gay man, and I can tell you, like gay men can't typically be friends with each other. I like it's more of a we're associates, or we hook up, or we're not really friends. You know what I
Right.
mean? So I don't think that what you said was like that out of pocket. I think they just gave you a shitty edit on that
I
one.
don't think it was outrageous at all. And I think what was also comical is that there was no there was no inquisitive questions like why do you feel like this, or like, there was no discussion. You know what I mean? It was just like attacking you for a viewpoint. You know what I mean? Like instead of an honest discourse about like why do you, and then somebody could have provided their own ideology about it, but that didn't happen. It was just more like, oh, that's weird that you think that way, that's chauvinistic, or that's like, you don't like women. And it's just like that's not realistic.
So another question I had, I can't remember specifically, but did you go into the house by yourself, or did you meet somebody?
So I was the only person who went in solo.
Okay.
And I went in last, which means everyone had gotten the opportunity to become comfortable. Nobody else had to like, come in solo with that awkwardness of like, oh shit, I'm coming here by myself. And there's like 4 or 5 people already staring, and they've already like, rubbed shoulders. So I came in at the end at night. They had already, I believe, been there for about 4 or 5 hours together. So it was definitely
they knew
set
you were
up.
scared the pot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely set up to, to have me be like the awkward, the one out. So it's all good, man. To be honest, like I feel like my personality was geared for that, but it was definitely a trap. So
So, um, what I want to do now is I kind of just want to run over some of your cast members. You can say whatever you want. You can share a good memory, a bad memory, or whatever. So let's start off. What are your feelings and thoughts on Kimberly?
she was a racist.
Really?
Yeah, man, she was definitely
I
racist.
kind of got that vibe. I don't want to put that into the universe, but like I kind of
I
did
mean,
get
it's
that
not
energy.
it's not really debatable. I mean, she always said like racist, bigoted things. And a lot of stuff didn't even make the show. So like they didn't even put, all the stuff that she said, on the season. So she made lots of, remarks that were just very derogatory when it comes to urban individuals. So she's from South Carolina, I believe. So, I would say it's mostly ignorance, and not being cultured to be able to like interact with people from different, demographics or ethnicities. But I don't know if she changed. I've never spoken to her or anybody, to be honest, since the show. But yeah, she was definitely a racist.
Yeah, she's one of the people we cannot find. Not that I'm not gonna lie, like there's certain people that I'm interested in interviewing. You, it's like you were kind of the most hated, and I feel like you were kind of shafted. So I was really interested, especially after I talked to Brianna. Um, so okay, from Kimberly, I want to touch base on Sarah because I wasn't there, so I can't say that I felt like they were like two peas in a pod, and maybe she was a little racist too. But what are your thoughts on Sarah?
I just felt like she has a very opinionated personality. She's a very strong-minded individual. I thought initially that we would get along well because she is like a very cerebral individual, as well. She's very intelligent, but very judgmental, and so it's difficult to have discourse. Again, like she was never really trying to have civil discourse about her opinions, her feelings. So it was just more like, this is how I feel, this is how I think, you don't think the same way, so we don't see eye to eye, so let's just like not talk at all. So that's kind of the energy that she put out there, and it made it very difficult to establish any sort of legitimate connection or interaction. So she didn't really seem interested in it at all. But at the beginning she had more of a lively personality, like the first 2 or 3 days. And then she kind of shut down after that and became like, we called her Hermit Sarah.
Yeah, because she didn't go out very often, did she?
No, she didn't go out at all, man. It's so funny because like the show shows, several scenes, but she went out the first 2 days, I think, and then never again. So she was very, set in her ways of being like a grandmother on the show. Literally
I
just,
feel like, and I hate to sound rude because I don't know these people personally, but I feel like those two girls would not be cast any chance in any reality TV series nowadays. It just wouldn't happen.
and that's why one of my one of my what I want to say, one of my conspiracy theories is that they pick people perfectly to contradict with my personality. Like everybody on there is like a very unique individual that I would clash with.
Which
Especially,
is weird because that's why they make you fill out all that paperwork, is so they can put you against people that you won't like. So it's kind of weird they didn't make you fill out the paperwork. You know what I mean?
I think they had already established enough intel from, I guess, my videos. So
Yeah.
maybe they didn't do. But yeah, man, like Sarah, Kim, it's just like Sarah didn't do anything. Like she was never trying to like be expressive, like wild. She was never trying to be like, crazy or just meeting new people. You know what I mean? Like it was just restricted personality type. So again, I don't understand what they were trying to achieve by casting her. But
So here is, you can say whatever you want. I don't judge, but she's one of my favorites. I don't care what you say. But what are your thoughts and feelings on Brianna? How was your experience with her?
I mean, she's very odd to me in that like she wasn't consistent in my opinion in terms of like her relationships. Like she used to be friends with you one day, and then like the next day she would be talking shit about you, and then like a week later y'all would be like BFFs, and then like a couple days after that she would snap again. Like her and Kim used to go back and forth and had issues. Then they were friends, then they weren't. So I just felt like she wasn't consistent, and it could be because of maybe the way that she perceived me or how I was, but it was just hard to have a consistent interaction with her. Because I thought she was the most level-minded of the female roommates, but it was still difficult to establish a real connection. And she was dealing with a lot of stuff too, obviously with the whatever that guy's name was. I don't remember, but she was going through a lot.
Did you listen to any of her music after you left the show? Like, did you check out anything anybody did? Like, did you listen to any of her songs or anything like that?
I couldn't find anything. I mean, I definitely listened to some of her music, but not a lot, to be honest. I think I heard 1 or 2 songs.
I can only find 3 songs online.
I think I found 1 or 2, and it sounded good, if I'm honest. But I think
the thing with your cast in general, because I don't really watch The Real World, I find it kind of boring. But that season, I just felt like you all had something severely relatable. Like you were all driven, you all wanted to do something, and like it was just a really interesting season. So what do we think about Dave? Because you and Dave just about got into a couple fights, right?
Yeah, man. They didn't make sense.
Which, like,
initially, I thought
you're way bigger than him.
I thought Dave was cool, man, at first, to be honest. Like, I mean, at the beginning, he was more of like, a very wild individual, which I consider myself to be a little wild as well. So we connected on that level of just being crazy, being spontaneous, streaking. You know what I mean? I still remember that. It was a fond memory. So, like, that was dope. But I think once that kind of, like, got into other stuff where, he started taking sides on certain, house members, we clashed. And he couldn't even explain sometimes why he was upset at me, man. He was like, I don't even know why I'm mad at this dude. So it was odd, man. But I still have, cool memories, the better times. So he's probably one of the people that I think I could have gotten along with outside of the show, obviously.
And then what about Will? Like, how was, because you guys seemed like you were like buddy for most of it, but then he seemed to switch really quickly on you a couple times there.
Again, man, my relationship with Will is always going to be like odd and peculiar to me, very mercurial, because initially, like, we were, really close from a sense of just, being black dudes, number one, and then being black dudes in Hollywood, number two. And, me and him used to go out and actually, again, in the beginning, we were very aggressively trying to pursue, like our own opportunities. So he was very aggressive as well as I was. So we kind of like connected on those levels. But once I started having issues with the other roommates and his own desires to try to either persuade some of the other roommates to his side or, be in cahoots, kind of like created a tension between me and him. And then that never really repaired itself. So it was disappointing because I think, he is an interesting individual, but I guess it just wasn't meant to be, man. Like I said, I tried, but he was kind of over it.
Yeah. And then I guess we'll save Joey for last. So first and foremost, everyone, Joey did pass away about 3-4 years after the filming of Real World. So rest in peace. How was your experience with Joey? And we don't have to go deeper than you want to, but like, what was that experience with him in the house? Because like, I was actually severely uncomfortable watching some of the scenes with him, like getting that mad. Like, it made me scared as a viewer. Like, I couldn't imagine what I would be like if I was there. Cause like he seemed really scary, but he also seemed like a really nice guy.
I had the best relationship with Joey out of all the housemates. Initially, you see the conflict in like the first episode, I believe, or the second episode, where me and him had, some conflict about a comment I made. But that was basically him telling me like, yeah, this is the type of person I am. Like, I appreciate a level of respect that's different than, how you're talking to me. So once he, let me know how he felt, I kind of, you know, again, man, acquiesced, and I tried to build a better relationship, which me and him had a pretty good relationship after that. We used to work out together. Me and him actually spent the most time together throughout the entire season of like going to do stuff by ourselves. And I actually kept in contact with him the most after the show, but not consistent. We didn't talk weekly or monthly, but like every 3 or 4 months, I would just say what's up, and he told me he had a son and stuff like that. So we talked about it. But it was difficult watching him go through that because at the time, I don't think I realized how serious it was because I'm not used to seeing like that level of abuse, alcohol abuse. So like, you know, to me, I was just like, oh man, like he's wilding out, man, like he's tripping. But like he really had an issue, you feel me? So, you know, sometimes when he would say things like, yo, man, like I cannot take one drink, man. Like if I do, it just goes out of control. Like I didn't understand that. And being older now and looking back at it, I do understand exactly like what he was talking about. And so it's kind of sad that I didn't understand completely then because I believe that I would have had different conversations with him. Maybe trying to understand like why does he choose to drink? Like where's the desire, you know, coming from? Or like maybe just even trying to empathize, man, because I don't think any of us understood the level of, you know, how much he was addicted to it or controlled by it, if that makes sense.
Was there, so like we do a lot of interviews with different reality TV show cast members. So like there's a lot of different rules for different shows, but like that season, it seems like there was access to drugs for some of the cast members. Was that like something everybody was aware of when it was happening?
I would just kind of say like it's Hollywood, so I mean, it's not.
Well, because I guess it would be hard to catch. Like they can't film you guys in the bathroom at a nightclub, right? So
Yeah, and I mean, again, it's Hollywood, so there was always access to
whatever
extracurricular
you wanted.
Yeah, pretty.
Yeah.
I didn't honestly know who exactly was doing it at what time. There was obviously
There was a few times. There's a few people looked a little fucked up, and it wasn't.
There's whispers about it, but you know, I didn't see people doing it because I wasn't really trying to see that anyway. I mean, I wasn't into that at the moment.
So you left the show. I did miss that part. So can you explain why you decided to leave?
It was not my decision. I got kicked off.
Why did you get kicked off?
Because I was trying to focus on like the whole modeling stuff, and it started to conflict with the classes that we were taking. So I missed 2 classes.
Oh yeah, at the improv class.
Yeah, and the woman in charge was like very intense, very serious, and she felt like I wasn't taking it seriously. So she just told me like, we're not going to be able to keep you within the class, and if we can't keep you in the class, then you have to leave the show. So I thought it was like very premature, because like there was no point where anybody was like, yo, like this is serious. Like if we kick you off the you know, the cast, like you're not going to be on the season. So like stop fucking up. Like seriously, don't miss no more classes, or like you're going home. So like that conversation didn't happen. So I felt that they didn't really let me know that it was that serious. So when she was basically saying, you know, you're off the show, I was like, wow, that's crazy. Because again, like I didn't do anything deadly or devious or malicious. So I was feeling confused that extreme measure was taken over something that wasn't.
Well, do you think that maybe the cast had something to do with that too? Because if I remember correctly, you were fucking with everybody's stuff. You were like putting rocks in beds, hiding panties, doing a bunch of like little pranks and pissing off everybody. Do you think maybe they all went to production and was like, get the guy out?
No.
I
don't believe that. But I do believe it had an impact because when she asked the cast, Sharna Halpern, when she asked, did anybody have anything they want to say regarding her decision? Like nobody spoke up. So I own that. Like I said, you don't really see all of the things that happen during the season. That's based on editing, which is fine. Yeah. But it wasn't just one-sided. Everything that I did precipitated something that they did first. So were they messing with my stuff? No. But they messed with a whole bunch of stuff. on different levels. Where like, again, man, me and Dave brought over some girls, and then Brianna and Kimberly basically like kicked them out by calling them names. So that was where, that started from there. When it comes to Sarah hiding her underwear, she basically ate a piece of chicken. Like I had like 15 pieces of chicken I made. She took a bite out of like all 15. Her and Kim. So that's why I said, okay, game on. And I started, cleaning the toilet with their toothbrushes. And,
Do you think that's like a colorist favorism situation too? Because they always showed you in a shitty light, but the white girls in a good light.
To be honest, man, I'm not gonna say that because I feel like it's just more like, again, I came in the season with that type of, oh, he thinks he's a shit type of mentality. So I was always gonna be, like the person who stood out or stuck out for the wrong reasons. So I just feel like that was the theme the whole show, man. Like this dude's different. He doesn't conform to the norm of like what we expect or like what we want. So like he's not just the quiet, like everybody likes him. Like so I just didn't conform, and then that makes you a target. But I don't think it was colorism. Because again, they did the same thing.
I found it weird too that the only two other African American cast members, they got to meet up, and all of the other white people met up. I'm like, it felt like when I watched it, I just remember feeling like it was kind of forced. Like, why can't you mix it up? You know what I mean? And then I just felt like you were getting a worse edit, and the white girls were getting a better edit. And I'm like, MTV.
I mean, that's definitely some factualization of that. Again, I don't know why, but again, from the very first couple episodes where you see me, again, stand outside of a club, and I'm saying like, oh, I don't want to wait in the line. This is lame. Like I'm going home. Like, again, that's just never happened. It didn't happen that way. We never waited in lines because we had cameras.
You were on camera.
Exactly. So, but they literally showed me saying, I'm not waiting in line. I'm going home. So I got a bad edit, man. And I asked them before production actually aired, will they edit in a way that creates a false narrative? You know what I mean? Like, I don't mind edits that don't show the whole story or omit information. That's cool, man. That's just a part of the job. But when they edit, like me saying something that I never said, like they splice together different sentences to make me say something that I never said. So to
that's
me,
the beauty of editing, right?
Yeah, man. To me, that just was like beyond. I think it's beyond decency because it's like a lie. It's just like a bald-faced lie. So.
Do you have any favorite memories of like your experience in the house, or like what was your favorite memory and what was your worst memory?
Favorite memory had to be the night where everybody went streaking down El Centro Boulevard. Everybody was pretty intoxicated except Sarah, of course. So everybody just went streaking, drunk. Just remember cupping nuts, running like full speed, screaming. Great night. Then everybody made out in the hot tub, which was
I remember that.
Pretty interesting. And the worst memory, I have to say the night that Joey was going crazy, man. Just because it kind of changed the energy, like it just everything got way more serious, way more intense, and then the kind of house kind of died too, man, from a sense of like the energy and the connection, because he had to leave, for rehab. And
did they make him leave, or was that willing?
He got forced to leave.
Yeah. And then also, how involved was production that night? Because like you can kind of see them on set trying to calm him down.
Yeah,
were they like all like trying to stop the situation, or were they just letting it play out?
Nah, they were. I mean, it's a mix. Like at the beginning, when he's knocking into things and like breaking doors, like they were on set, like watching. But then once like it continued, then they were like, hey, you guys need to back away. So they were more proactive.
So what has life been like since reality television for you? What have you done? What are you up to? Also, were you offered to do any of the other shows? Because I know a lot of the real world people were offered like the challenge, stuff like that.
So I got blackballed after I didn't go to the reunion show. Um, so they offered me to go on a show, but like they canceled it before they offered it. So they offered it and then canceled it like about a week later. And then they never offered it again. So I believe they were upset that I chose not to go to the reunion show. So, but aside from that, I moved to Los Angeles maybe 3 years after the show, and then started doing some type of acting things. That's where I kind of booked most of my acting projects. But it was very erratic, and again, I just wasn't packaged properly to like take it seriously. So again, I did get my headshots. I didn't get a reel that was decent, so I just wasn't taking it seriously. So now I'm presently head of security for a Malibu mall outlet. I like it. It's cool. It's like a leadership position, so that's what I presently do now.
Yeah, you seem like you'd like to boss people around.
A question I have is, have you ever watched like any like MTV challenges? Like,
I couldn't. After they told me that I couldn't be on the show, I just felt like I don't want to watch it no more.
Fuck them.
Because you kind of, it's not like I'm saying fuck them, that's why I'm not watching it, but it's more like it's frustrating. It's like I'm very competitive. I thought it would have been dope to go on there, and they
You would
had
be
like
great on there,
yeah,
man. For sure.
they had a season with like rivals where like me and Will would have been on there as rivals. That'd have been so dope, right? Like we probably would have fucked some shit up too. But so they kind of like missed me with the opportunity. They didn't give it to me. They didn't give it to any of us really. I think only like 2 people did.
Brianna did it.
Yeah, and I think Kimberly did one, maybe, and David, but like only like 1. So, and they didn't do well. I don't believe. I think Brianna did.
3 episodes.
Brittany did good, but nobody else. But yeah, man. So I don't watch it just because it's frustrating. Like I should be on there, man. I should be killing it. But
I totally feel that. I don't watch Big Brother. I've almost been cast for that show probably like almost fucking 7 times. Filled out this big ass chunk of paperwork. I'm like, I'm not watching this shit if you don't cast me. Like, are you serious?
That's kind of how I feel, man. Yeah, it's like
I'm a petty bitch. Like,
and also after you realize the behind the scenes stuff, it kind of like is difficult to watch it once you know like the ins and outs. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So you kind of like realize what's not authentic or what is. So it's frustrating. Yeah.
Well, Gregory, thanks for interviewing with us. Is there any final words you want to leave us with?
Hey, man, I hope everybody, again, enjoyed the season. For everybody that actually, tried to reach out to me, I think I'm a cool guy. I think I'm, very pleasant. I'm respectful. I thought a lot of people did like my personality. So it's definitely cool to hear from people who say like, yo, man, we loved your personality. We love that you kept it real. Like we love that you are authentic and sincere as far as, staying true to myself. So I love all the people who enjoy my personality. And for those who don't, it's disappointing that you have those perceptions. But if you would have been in my shoes, you'd have probably did the same thing. Because, again, man, just wasn't a lot of opportunities to kind of show like my real personality before being attacked. So it is what it is. But I do it again. I still do it again.
MTV, you heard it right there. The challenge is coming up. Don't blackball him. Let's get him on the challenge. This guy will rip the shit up. Gregory, what's your Instagram handle?
At Gregory Allen Hallstead.
All right, guys, and our Instagrams are Reality Positivity, and mine is The Real Darcy Daniel. You can also follow my jewelry line that I just started.
Are you going to send me one of those?
Yeah, send me your address. I'll definitely send you one, bro.
I'll definitely rock it, man.
Yeah, it's called UMI and Nature, so you, me, and nature. UMI in Arabic actually means mother, so it's mother and nature, and they're all flower, locally based with crystals, and and then you can follow my personal page.
It looks really
Pardon?
nice. It looks really nice.
Yeah, man, you hit me up. I'll send you one.
That'll be awesome, man.
Yeah, just hit me up if you have like an address or a PO box or whatever. I'll send you one.
I definitely do.
I'll send. I will send all of my interviewees one. I just want a picture with you guys wearing it.
I'm gonna.
All right, guys. Well, this has been a blast. You can check out The Real World Season 20 Hollywood on Paramount Plus, or I also believe Hulu, so you can check that out now. Follow us all on Instagram. And Reggie, did you have any last questions?
Also, would you ever be open to doing like a part 2 interview with us? Because we do like free for all lives where we have like different reality stars or reality stars from like the same seasons with each
Brianna
other?
was supposed to pop in today. I'm not gonna lie. She was supposed to be our surprise guest to come say hi, but we have a lot of time differences. I'm in Canada, you're in LA, he's in New York.
Mm.
So she was gonna pop in because she actually really likes you, by the way. She told me that she felt really bad she never got to say goodbye to you when you left.
Yeah, man. Like I said, a lot of the relationships to me weren't really fleshed out accurately. Like it was just a lot of tension when like there just shouldn't have been, because like nothing crazy really happened from our sense. Like we didn't really have no real beef. It's just pettiness, man. A lot of petulance. But I'm definitely open to chatting with other castmates or anybody else. So just let me know.
Let's
And
get a Real World season 20 reunion going here.
That'll be very interesting. Very, very interesting.
All right, Gregory, and all right, all of our followers. Thank you guys so much, and we're out.
Thank you.
Thanks, Gregory.
Sir, thank you, man. Have a good
Bye.
day. Bye-bye.